The story of Medusa has captured the imagination of people for centuries, and it is still a popular subject in art, literature, and popular culture. But what exactly is the myth of Medusa, and why is it so important? Today, we're going to be talking about it. So sit comfortably and get ready to take a journey into Greek mythology. Medusa was once a beautiful and revered priestess, serving at the temple of Athena, the Greek goddess of wisdom and war. She was renowned for her beauty, and many suitors sought her hand in marriage. However, Medusa was not interested in love or marriage and dedicated her life to serving Athena and her temple. However, her life was soon to change forever. Medusa was said to be so beautiful that she caught the eye of Poseidon, the Greek god of the sea. Poseidon was said to have taken advantage of Medusa, forcing himself upon her in Athena's temple. This was a grave insult to Athena, who was the patron goddess of the temple, and she was outraged at the violation of her sacred space and the desecration of Medusa's purity. As a punishment, Athena transformed Medusa into a monster. Medusa's hair turned into snakes, and her once beautiful face became a grotesque and terrifying visage. Any person who looked directly into her eyes was instantly turned to stone. She was driven from her home and forced to live in isolation, shunned by all who once knew her. However, Medusa's story did not end there. The hero Perseus was tasked with killing Medusa in order to obtain the head as a gift for King Polydectes. Perseus was a brave and cunning warrior, but he knew that he could not defeat Medusa on his own. So, he sought the help of the gods. With the help of Athena and Hermes, Perseus was able to defeat Medusa and retrieve her head. Athena gave Perseus a reflective shield, which he used to avoid looking directly into Medusa's eyes, and Hermes gave him winged sandals, which allowed him to fly. Armed with these gifts and with his wits and courage, Perseus was able to defeat Medusa and retrieve her head. Perseus went on to use Medusa's head as a weapon, using it to defeat various other monsters and ultimately win the hand of his true love, Andromeda. The story of Perseus and Medusa is one of the most famous tales of ancient Greece, and it remains a popular cultural icon to this day. The myth of Medusa is a tale of transformation, both physical and emotional. It speaks to the power of anger, betrayal, and the consequences of our actions. It also touches on themes of gender and the treatment of women in ancient societies, as well as the power dynamics between the gods and mortals. The transformation of Medusa from a beautiful and revered priestess to a monstrous and feared creature is a powerful symbol of the dangers of unchecked rage and the transformative power of change. Before we go on with the story, I remind you to subscribe and like the video to support the channel. In this introduction, we saw how the events went, but now we see the consequences it had. The story has been a popular subject in art for centuries, reflecting the enduring appeal of this powerful myth. The ancient Greeks were the first to depict Medusa in art, and she appeared on many different forms of artwork, including vases, coins, and sculptures. In these early depictions, Medusa was often shown as a terrifying monster with snakes for hair, reflecting the fear she inspired in the ancient world. One of the most famous examples of Medusa in art is the statue of Perseus and the head of Medusa by the Italian artist Cellini. This magnificent sculpture, created in the 16th century, shows Perseus holding the head of Medusa after he has defeated her. The statue is considered to be one of the masterpieces of Renaissance art, and it is considered one of Cellini's greatest works. The statue of Perseus and the head of Medusa is not just a representation of the myth of Medusa, but also a symbol of the power and skill of the artist. Cellini was a master of his craft, and the detail and realism of this sculpture demonstrate his incredible talent. The statue captures the moment of triumph as Perseus holds the head of Medusa aloft, symbolizing his victory over the monster. Medusa has continued to be a popular subject in art throughout the centuries, with artists from all over the world creating their own interpretations of this powerful myth. What about the literature? The myth of Medusa has inspired many writers throughout the centuries, reflecting the enduring appeal of this powerful story. One of the most famous examples is the epic poem Metamorphoses by the Roman poet Ovid. In this poem, Ovid describes Medusa as a monster who was so terrible that even the gods feared her. Ovid's Metamorphoses is a collection of myths and legends from ancient Greece and Rome, and the story of Medusa is just one of the many tales he recounts. In his poem, Ovid describes Medusa as a fearsome monster with snakes for hair and the power to turn anyone who looked into her eyes into stone. He also tells the story of Perseus, the brave hero who defeated Medusa and rescued the beautiful princess Andromeda. Ovid's Metamorphoses is not just a collection of myths, but also a commentary on the human condition. Through his poems, Ovid explores the themes of love, loss, and transformation, and he uses the story of Medusa as a powerful metaphor for the dangers of hubris and the consequences of breaking the rules. The story of Medusa has also inspired many other writers over the centuries, including the Greek poet Hesiod and the English playwright William Shakespeare. These writers have each created their own interpretations of the myth and have added their own unique perspectives to this enduring story. The myth of Medusa has inspired many writers throughout the centuries and continues to be a popular subject in literature. One of the most famous examples is the epic poem Metamorphoses by Ovid, which recounts the story of Medusa and Perseus and explores the themes of love, loss, and transformation. The legacy of Medusa in literature continues to live on, inspiring new interpretations and adaptations of this powerful myth. What about the movies? The myth has been portrayed in several films over the years, reflecting the enduring appeal of this powerful story. One of the most famous examples is the 1981 film Clash of the Titans, which was a retelling of the story of Perseus and Medusa. In this film, Medusa is depicted as a terrifying monster who must be defeated by the hero in order to save the princess Andromeda. Another example is the 2010 film Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief, which is based on the best-selling series of books by Rick Riordan. In this film, Medusa is portrayed as a powerful sorceress who has been transformed into a monster because of her pride and greed. She is depicted as a fearsome adversary who must be defeated by the hero in order to save the world from the wrath of the gods. These films have been popular with audiences because they bring the story of Medusa to life in a new and exciting way. They offer a fresh interpretation of this powerful myth, and they allow audiences to experience the terror and excitement of the story in a new and engaging way. And that's all for today, folks. I hope you enjoyed learning about the myth of Medusa and its impact on art, literature, and film. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for more interesting mythological stories and ancient history. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring.